Alright, what I wanted to show you here was, this is kind of a pre-engineering model that allows us to develop the electronics and the controls for the car, and then eventually all of this will be shrunken down into a very small package using LSI technology. Essentially what we're seeing on the packages here is we have a power supply unit here which actually regulates the battery voltage to a consistent level. This particular two modules here you see is associated with the distributor. You'll notice you can see the lights as they go around. Basically that is the distributor firing. This particular unit is set up for a 4-cylinder car but can also operate a 6-cylinder car. You'll notice that we have two select switches here. These switches right here allows us to switch between gasoline for an operating mode and then switch over to the water. As an operating mode. This is so that we can test the differences between the two. These four modules right here basically are the injectors. They control the injector itself right here. We have both manual controls. All the switches in the down position is for manual control, and all the switches in the up position is for automatic control. This particular module right here is the accelerator module. This module controls all of the injectors simultaneously. One of the pieces that we're retrofitting to the car is that I have my hand on right now is what we call the light gate, or it's a device that fits right on top of the distributor. Essentially what happens is we remove the distributor cap and we put this device in between, and essentially what it does is it takes the rotation of the engine, converts it to electrical signal so that we can control the injectors. This is a part of the light guide that fits onto the system, and we actually set it on the shaft, rotate it till we get the right calibration, and then put the distributor cap and its rotor back onto the system, and we're all set. This is a retrofit for converting
Okay, now, as you mentioned earlier, we'll take the light guide as you said here, all right? And then, boy, that went on pretty good, didn't it? And that shield will go on top, and then, of course, we'll insert the rotor cap. And now, we'll just go ahead and insert the distributor see right here, okay? Now, that'll be pretty good.
Where's your lockdowns at?
Oh, they're done now.
Let's hook up the distributor and just rotate the engine because I want to see what it looks like with the same pulse. Just testing to see if all the injectors are firing, and they are firing. I'm actually turning it manually to watch it fire, okay? And you can see right here, this one has an injector, that has an injector, that has an injector. Now I'm going to turn it the way the car normally runs, okay? Look at injector here, 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 and here. Okay? They're just come in the field of view right here. There. Saw it?
Mm-hmm.
Now it'll come in one more time. Getting ready to now.
Boy, those optics on the laser distributor is really beautiful, isn't it?
Oh yeah. What I wanted to show you was we have the injectors here, which is connected to the electronics. The new module that we have right here is the cell driver itself, and this is the high voltage intensifier circuit that is being interfaced to the water cell itself. And
So essentially what we've done is we've taken electronics now, gone from the accelerator itself into the accelerator card. That now comes over to the voltage container. Essentially what we're doing here is that we are controlling the energy going into the cell. You will notice here that the pulses are changing the number of pulses that the cell is using to determine its power. You'll notice that there's a pulse train that is fed into the cell, and that is directly related to energy. And as I decrease the accelerator, I can decrease the number of pulses that the system sees. Up here, this particular signal is the signal that's fed into the injectors. If you listen to the injectors, you will hear and see that this pulse width gets larger and larger. And what this pulse is, you notice as I'm decreasing it, would decrease the injector time. And the clicking that you hear is the physical injector turning on and off. If you want to listen to all the injectors, that was all four of the injectors firing at a synchronous rate. Now, one of the features about the new power cell is that driver for the cell, which we call the driver and then the intensifier circuit, is that we can control the energy that goes directly into the cell. And we can pick out a point. We have an amplitude control. That would be where the signal adjusts in the amplitude. And then we can control the pulse train that's being fed to the cell so that we can precisely control the energy into the cell based upon the needs of the running of the car. In other words, you'll notice that the injector pulse, note here that the injector pulse is increasing in size, and we can determine the number of pulses that the system will be using for the cell, as well as lower the amplitude of the pulse, which now says we can precisely provide enough energy to the cell to give us enough gas to run the automobile. So it's very efficient in the respect that we're putting in very little energy into the cell to produce enough gas to operate the automobile. No, 3.5. Today is a VIC unit. This is the VIC cabinet itself. And you'll notice that the way this is designed is that we have the channels that plug in. Now we have up to 11 channels that plug into the VIC unit. Now the power and the control signals are controlled by this panel over here on the right. We have an on-off switch, and this is the jack that controls the gating signal from the GMS unit that goes into each of these channels itself, and then this connector itself goes off to the water fuel cell. The main power from the batteries is connected here at this location. The unit that you see here in front of me is one of the cards that we're just now currently testing. We're just about ready to complete our testing on this card. What we're doing right now is turning the card on, and we've been testing each part of the circuitry to make sure that it performs to our requirements. One of the things that we are doing during the testing of the cards is we have a system in here. If you can hear the frequency and look at the oscilloscope, you will see that we have a scanning frequency. What happens is we are scanning the water fuel cell so that we can find a resonance point at which the system will lock onto. Now, under normal operation, with the cell being attached to the VIC unit, we would do the scanning. You'll notice that this level is going down, then back up, down, and back up. You'll notice that the frequency is getting higher and then lower, and then goes back up high again. And that's actually, we're scanning the water cell, and when we hit the right point, it will lock on and maintain that level. Now what you see on the cards here is that we have a blinking light, which is the oscillator on. That tells us that we're actually controlling the frequency is being produced. We have a cell on light that would indicate that the cell is actually on and performing its function. And then we also have a lock light so that when it does capture that resonant frequency, the light will be on, indicating that we're locked on the water cell, we're in resonant, and we're producing the gas. You'll notice the switches here across the top. We have the capabilities of turning the unit completely on or completely off, or turn each individual cell on and off. And typically on the automobile, we're forecasting that we're going to use Okay, we'll take the unit, that VIC card that we had right here that we were testing, put all those cards in there, and then you put the heat sinks in the back. And then what you do is put the unit in like this. Alright. In, and all you have to do is take the cap, put the cap on like that, put these 3 screws in, we got it. Okay. See that? Like that? Put it like right here like this. You know, it comes off like this. You can put it over like that. This exposes the channels, and this makes it look really nice. Now, these switches are the ones that we turn power on, so I can turn this cell on. There, I turn these 4 cells on, the rest of these cells are off. All the other switches will give me the... This is itself. I think it looks like a nice unit. It's mounted very rigidly and strong, and it... Turn this power on here, okay? Now you do your reset it here, and now the water fuel cell is running and oscillating, okay? You go to manual mode or automatic mode. Now this cable, the VIC, is connected here, see, and it comes right up to this point right here. So when this unit's on, and you water to generate the gas from the water. When you turn this unit on, okay, each one of these, whatever's turned on, will start to scan and lock in at its residency, and each one of those things will produce the gas. This light, when it says cell on, means that cell's producing energy. Now the pressure will build up a little bit, and we'll start putting the gas right into the motor itself. This unit to turn on.
And basically how the water tank is going to work in conjunction with the resident cavity is the water now is going out into the resident cavity. Then the gases is now acting as a water pump, which causes the water to go out of the resident cavity now into this filtering tray, which separates the contaminants and then allows the water to go back into the resident cavity during gas.
subscribe button now to join our technology releases and updates every Monday, and consider buying a ticket to the show by pressing the link in the description. If you would like to see the secrets ahead of time, head over to our Patreon Tech Cream. Merch updates are ready. If you want to look good in the H2 hot rodding scene, and if you would like to pick up some hydrogen hot rodding merch, now is your chance. Please head over to our hydrogen hot rod shop. The link is in the description. Thanks. Alternatively, you can send me an email or join me on WhatsApp chat. Details are in the description. Let me know which things you like, what sizes you want. Network of home builders is growing very fast. Whether it's a roadster, a supercar, or a yacht build, or maybe even an industrial power and gas energy project. I'm here to assist and guide you. Please head over to the Consult with Dan link in the description and book a discussion.